Did you know that nearly 70% of Brits believe immigration has created tension in their communities? And in some of the UK's most famous cities, the situation is even more heated. But why? What's really driving this divide? Imagine walking through the streets of London, a global icon of diversity, only to find neighbourhoods deeply split over cultural differences. Or think about Birmingham, where locals quietly express frustration about job competition they blame on immigrants. These aren't isolated feelings. They reflect a deeper story brewing across the UK. It's not just about numbers or policies. In cities like Manchester and Leeds, historical wounds, economic struggles, and rapid changes are colliding in ways that are leaving many residents overwhelmed and immigrants unfairly targeted. But here's the thing. It's not always what it seems. The reasons behind these tensions go far beyond headlines or political speeches. From fears about identity to economic inequality, each city has its own story. A mix of history, perception, and reality. So which cities are the most affected? And what's fueling these attitudes? Stay with us, because as we reveal the 10 famous UK cities where locals are said to resent immigrants, you'll uncover shocking truths, surprising insights, and maybe even a new way of understanding this complicated issue. Let's get started. Number 10. Newcastle. Newcastle, a city known for its iconic bridges and vibrant nightlife, might not be the first place that comes to mind when discussing immigration tensions. But beneath its welcoming Geordie charm lies a complex web of social and economic challenges that have fueled mixed feelings among some locals about immigrants. One of the primary reasons for this tension is economic hardship. Like many cities in the northeast, Newcastle has struggled with the aftershocks of industrial decline. Jobs in sectors like shipbuilding and coal mining, once the backbone of the local economy, have vanished over the years, leaving many residents feeling left behind. For some, immigrants become easy scapegoats, accused of taking limited job opportunities or putting strain on public services like housing and healthcare. The media's role can't be ignored either. Stories sensationalising immigration issues, even when not directly tied to Newcastle, influence public opinion. This creates a narrative that immigrants are flooding the city, despite Newcastle actually having a smaller immigrant population compared to other major UK cities. Another factor is cultural shifts. While Newcastle has a rich history of embracing newcomers, rapid demographic changes in certain areas have led to feelings of alienation for some locals. This is particularly true in neighbourhoods where integration has been slower, leaving communities feeling divided. Yet, it's not all negative. Newcastle is also a city with thriving multicultural initiatives and success stories of immigrant-run businesses revitalising local areas. These positives highlight the potential for growth when communities work together. Newcastle's story is a reminder that economic struggles and media narratives often create division, but empathy and understanding can bridge those gaps. Would you have guessed that Newcastle faces these challenges? Let's move on to our next city for more surprising insights. Number 9. Sheffield. Sheffield, known as the Steel City for its industrial legacy, has a rich history of resilience and innovation. However, like many post-industrial cities in the UK, it has faced significant economic challenges, which have contributed to tensions around immigration in certain parts of the city. At the heart of the issue lies job scarcity. Once a powerhouse of British manufacturing, Sheffield has seen a decline in industrial jobs over the decades. While regeneration efforts have brought new opportunities, they haven't kept pace with the needs of local residents. For some, immigrants are viewed, often unfairly, as competitors for these scarce opportunities, especially in low-wage or manual labour sectors. Another significant factor is housing pressure. Sheffield has experienced a growing demand for affordable housing, and areas with higher immigrant populations sometimes become hotspots for local frustrations. Long-term residents may feel pushed out or overlooked, fueling resentment. Cultural misunderstandings also play a role. Some neighbourhoods have seen rapid demographic shifts, where new immigrant communities settle in clusters. While this fosters cultural preservation among immigrants, it can create a sense of isolation for locals who may feel their communities are changing too quickly. This lack of integration often amplifies stereotypes and misperceptions. Despite these challenges, Sheffield has a strong tradition of community spirit. Many initiatives, such as cultural festivals and language programs, are fostering understanding between locals and immigrants. These efforts showcase the city's potential to turn tension into collaboration. Sheffield's story is a classic example of how economic struggles and lack of integration can create friction, but also how a city can rise above these challenges. Curious to see if the next city faces similar struggles. Number 8. Cardiff. As the capital of Wales, Cardiff is celebrated for its vibrant culture, historic landmarks, and thriving sports scene. But even this cosmopolitan city isn't immune to tensions surrounding immigration. While Cardiff is often seen as a welcoming and inclusive place, certain factors have sparked resentment among some local residents. One of the key issues is identity and cultural preservation. Welsh identity is deeply tied to its language, traditions, and sense of community. For some locals, an influx of immigrants is perceived as a threat to these long-standing cultural values. Although this fear is largely rooted in perception rather than reality, it underscores the importance of cultural integration and mutual understanding. Another challenge lies in economic disparities. Like other urban centres, Cardiff has areas where poverty and unemployment are higher than average. When public services like housing and healthcare are under pressure, locals often blame immigrants, believing rightly or wrongly that they're competing for limited resources. These frustrations can escalate in neighbourhoods where economic hardships are most acute. Media narratives have also played a role. Stories that emphasise immigration as a problem have shaped public opinion, creating a sense of unease even in communities with minimal immigrant populations. This disconnect between perception and reality perpetuates stereotypes and divides. Yet Cardiff also shines as an example of how diversity can enrich a city. Immigrant communities have significantly contributed to Cardiff's economy, food scene, and cultural landscape. The annual Cardiff Multicultural Mela, for instance, is a vibrant celebration of the city's diversity, showing how integration can build bridges. Cardiff's story highlights the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and embracing change. It's a challenge, but one that Cardiff is striving to overcome. Ready to see what our next city brings to the table? Let's move on. Number 7. Liverpool. Liverpool, famously known as the City of the Beatles, is a place with a rich cultural history and a proud working-class spirit. Its port played a vital role in shaping the city as a melting pot of cultures, welcoming immigrants from around the world for centuries. Yet despite this legacy of diversity, Liverpool has seen its share of tensions around immigration in recent years. One significant factor is economic challenges. Like many post-industrial cities in the UK, Liverpool has faced a slow recovery from the decline of its shipping and manufacturing industries. In areas still struggling with unemployment and low wages, some locals see immigrants as competition for jobs or housing. This perception, often stoked by sensationalist media stories, has contributed to lingering resentment in certain communities. Another issue is historical wounds and narratives. Liverpool's unique history as a hub of migration and trade also includes its connection to the transatlantic slave trade. For some, this history adds a layer of complexity to conversations about race and immigration, especially when it comes to integrating newer immigrant communities into the city's existing multicultural fabric. Political rhetoric has also played a role. Anti-immigration messages from certain political groups resonate in areas where locals feel left behind by national policies. These narratives often simplify the challenges, making immigrants an easy scapegoat for deeper systemic issues. Despite these challenges, Liverpool has a strong reputation for resilience and community solidarity. Many grassroots organisations and cultural events, like the International Slavery Museum and local refugee support groups are actively working to foster understanding and inclusivity. Liverpool's journey reminds us that even a city built on diversity must continually address the complexities of economic disparity and cultural integration. Number 6. Edinburgh. Edinburgh, Scotland's stunning capital, is famous for its historic castles, cobblestone streets, and world-renowned festivals. It's a city that attracts millions of tourists and thousands of immigrants every year. Yet beneath its picturesque charm, Edinburgh grapples with underlying tensions over immigration that might surprise many. One major factor is cultural preservation. Edinburgh is a city deeply rooted in Scottish traditions, from its language to its festivals like Hogmanay. Some locals worry that the growing immigrant population could dilute this cultural heritage, creating a divide between long-time residents and newcomers. While these concerns are often fueled by perception rather than reality, they highlight the challenges of balancing cultural preservation with modern diversity. Another driver of tension is economic inequality. Edinburgh has a booming economy driven by finance, tech, and tourism, but not everyone benefits equally. For locals in lower income areas, competition for affordable housing and jobs can feel overwhelming, especially when new arrivals are perceived as adding to the demand. This has led to pockets of resentment in parts of the city where resources are stretched thin. Political narratives also play a role. Scotland has historically been more pro-immigration than other parts of the UK, but that doesn't mean everyone in Edinburgh shares this view. National debates on immigration occasionally spill into local discourse, creating friction in a city otherwise celebrated for its inclusivity. Despite these challenges, Edinburgh remains a beacon of multiculturalism, with immigrant communities contributing to its economy, arts, and food scene. Events like the Edinburgh Mela celebrate the city's diversity and promote unity. Edinburgh's story shows that even cities renowned for their open-mindedness must address the realities of economic disparity and cultural shifts. We've put our heart into uncovering these stories and sharing them with you. If you found this video insightful, let us know your thoughts in the comments. What surprised you most? And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Number 5. Birmingham. Birmingham, often referred to as the UK's second city, is a vibrant hub of culture, history, and industry. Known for its diversity and large immigrant population, it has long been a gateway for newcomers seeking better opportunities. However, this very diversity has also been a source of tension in some parts of the city. One of the main reasons is economic competition. Birmingham has faced significant challenges with unemployment and poverty in certain areas. For some residents, particularly those in struggling neighbourhoods, immigrants are perceived as competitors for jobs and public services. This perception, though not always grounded in fact, has fueled resentment among locals who feel left behind by the city's economic growth. Another factor is cultural segregation. While Birmingham is celebrated for its multicultural identity, certain neighbourhoods remain highly divided along ethnic lines. This lack of integration has sometimes led to misunderstandings and a sense of us versus them. Some residents feel alienated as the city changes, while immigrants often face challenges in navigating new cultural and social norms. Media and political narratives have also added fuel to the fire. Negative portrayals of immigrants in local and national outlets can amplify fears and reinforce stereotypes, making it harder for communities to connect. Despite these challenges, Birmingham has countless success stories of integration and community strength. Initiatives like the annual Birmingham Mela and the city's thriving immigrant-owned businesses showcase how diversity can enrich a community when barriers are broken down. Birmingham's story reminds us that tension often stems from misunderstanding and systemic issues, not the people themselves. Ready to uncover what's happening in the next city? Number 4. Oldham. Oldham, a town located in Greater Manchester, has gained a reputation for its deep industrial roots and hard-working communities. However, It's also a place where immigration has become a contentious issue, with historical and social factors playing a significant role in shaping local attitudes. One of the primary reasons for tension in Oldham is its history of racial segregation and conflict. The town became infamous for the 2001 race riots, which exposed long-standing divisions between different ethnic groups. Although much progress has been made since then, these scars still influence perceptions, with some locals feeling that integration hasn't gone far enough. Economic deprivation also fuels resentment. Oldham has one of the highest levels of poverty in the UK, with limited job opportunities and strained public services. In such an environment, immigrants are often unfairly seen as competing for resources like housing, healthcare, and welfare benefits. This creates a breeding ground for stereotypes and misinformation to thrive. Another factor is limited community interaction. Many areas of Oldham remain highly segregated, with certain neighbourhoods dominated by specific ethnic groups. This lack of day-to-day interaction fosters misunderstandings and perpetuates us versus them mentalities, making it harder for people to find common ground. Despite these challenges, there are ongoing efforts to build bridges. Community-led initiatives, such as integration projects and cultural exchange programs, are creating spaces for dialogue and understanding. These efforts prove that Oldham has the potential to overcome its divisions and move forward together. Oldham's story highlights how economic struggles and historical divisions can shape attitudes toward immigration, but also how hope and progress can emerge through collaboration. Number 3. Luton, a bustling town located just north of London, is known for its rich history, thriving airport, and multicultural population. But despite its global connections and diverse community, Luton has faced persistent tensions surrounding immigration, driven by a mix of economic, social, and political factors. One of the main sources of tension in Luton is rapid demographic change. Over the past few decades, the town has seen significant growth in its immigrant population, leading to visible changes in its cultural and social landscape. For some long-term residents, these rapid shifts have created feelings of alienation and a perception that their town no longer resembles the one they grew up in. Economic struggles also play a big role. While Luton's airport has been a key driver of jobs, not everyone has benefited equally. High unemployment rates and pockets of poverty in some neighbourhoods have created resentment, with immigrants often unfairly blamed for job shortages and stretched public services like housing and healthcare. Luton's media portrayal has added further fuel to the fire. Over the years, high-profile incidents, such as protests and controversies involving specific immigrant groups, have been sensationalised in the press. These stories often paint an incomplete picture of the town, reinforcing stereotypes and deepening divisions. Despite these challenges, Luton remains a town full of potential. Its diverse population has contributed to a vibrant local culture, with festivals, markets, and businesses reflecting the town's global character. Grassroots efforts aimed at promoting understanding and unity are also making a positive impact. Luton's story underscores how fear of change and economic pressures can create division, but it also demonstrates the strength that comes from embracing diversity. Number 2. Bradford. Bradford, nestled in West Yorkshire, is a city of contrasts. It's famous for its rich industrial heritage, stunning architecture, and vibrant multicultural community. However, it's also a city where immigration has sparked tension, shaped by economic struggles and cultural divides. One of the key factors driving this tension is economic inequality. Bradford has one of the highest rates of poverty in the UK, with limited job opportunities and strained public services. For many long-term residents, these challenges have created feelings of resentment toward immigrant communities, who are often perceived as competing for resources like housing and welfare support. Another issue is cultural segregation. While Bradford is celebrated for its diversity, some areas remain deeply divided along ethnic lines. Schools, neighbourhoods, and even social spaces are often segregated, limiting interaction between different communities. This separation fosters misunderstandings, stereotypes, and a lack of trust, making integration a significant challenge. Bradford's history of social unrest also casts a long shadow. The city experienced race riots in the early 2000s, exposing deep divisions that have been slow to heal. These events continue to influence attitudes, with some residents wary of change and hesitant to embrace multiculturalism fully. Yet Bradford is also a city of resilience and potential. Immigrant communities have brought economic growth through thriving businesses, vibrant cultural festivals, and a booming food scene. Local initiatives, such as interfaith programs and youth outreach projects, are fostering understanding and breaking down barriers. Bradford's story is a powerful reminder that tension often stems from systemic issues rather than individuals. With effort and empathy, the city can continue to grow, as an example of how diversity can enrich a community. Number 1. London. London, the bustling capital of the UK, is often celebrated as one of the most diverse cities in the world. With people from over 270 nationalities and more than 300 languages spoken, it's a global symbol of multiculturalism. Yet beneath its vibrant exterior, even London isn't immune to tension surrounding immigration. One of the most significant sources of friction is economic disparity. While London boasts some of the wealthiest neighbourhoods in the UK, it also has some of the poorest. Boroughs like Tower Hamlets and Newham face high levels of poverty, with many struggling to access affordable housing and reliable public services. Immigrants often settle in these areas, not by choice, but because of economic necessity. This creates the perception among some locals that newcomers are adding to the strain on limited resources, fueling resentment and a sense of unfairness. Another key factor is the pace of demographic change. In areas like Barking and Dagenham or Hounslow, rapid shifts in population have altered the social and cultural landscape in just a few decades. For long-time residents, these changes can feel overwhelming, leading to feelings of alienation and loss of identity. Often, the lack of opportunities for meaningful interaction between communities exacerbates these divisions, with both sides harbouring misconceptions about the other. Media narratives and political rhetoric have also played a role. London frequently dominates headlines about immigration, often portrayed as overrun or divided by newcomers. These sensationalised stories paint a distorted picture, fueling fears and perpetuating stereotypes. This narrative makes it harder for people to see the genuine contributions of immigrant communities. However, London's diversity is also its strength. Immigrants have revitalised struggling neighbourhoods, brought new cuisines, music and art, and played a key role in its thriving economy. Events like the Notting Hill Carnival and multicultural festivals at South Bank Centre showcase the city's unity through diversity. London's story is a reminder that while tensions can arise, they're often rooted in economic and systemic issues, not the people themselves. With empathy and collaboration, London can continue to thrive as a shining example of multiculturalism. What's your take on London's evolving identity? Share below. Immigration has always been a sensitive topic, and it's easy to see why. When communities face economic struggles or rapid cultural changes, fear and resentment can take root. It's human nature to be wary of the unknown, especially when people feel their livelihoods or traditions are at risk. The cities we've discussed highlight the complexities of these tensions, each shaped by its unique history, economic conditions, and cultural dynamics. But it's important to remember that these challenges don't define the whole story. Most residents in these cities, whether immigrants or locals, share common goals: safety, opportunity, and a sense of belonging. The issues often arise not because people are fundamentally at odds, but because of systemic pressures, misinformation, and a lack of meaningful interaction between communities. Behind the headlines and statistics are real people. Families working hard to build better lives, neighbours who care about their communities, and individuals striving to preserve their identity while embracing change. By addressing the root causes of these tensions, economic inequality, segregation, and divisive narratives. These cities have the potential to bridge divides and grow stronger together. The road isn't easy, but progress is always possible when empathy and understanding lead the way. Resolving tensions surrounding immigration isn't about choosing sides. It's about addressing the root causes and fostering a sense of unity. For the cities on our list, solutions lie in economic investment, education, and creating opportunities for meaningful interaction between communities. Economic revitalisation. Many of the tensions stem from competition for jobs, housing, and resources. Governments and local authorities need to prioritise economic development in areas hardest hit by poverty. Investing in job creation, affordable housing, and public services can help reduce the sense of scarcity that fuels resentment. Immigrant communities can be partners in this growth, as their contributions often drive local economies. Education and awareness. Fear of immigration often stems from misinformation and stereotypes. Schools and community organisations can play a key role by fostering conversations about diversity, history, and the benefits of multiculturalism. When people understand each other's backgrounds and struggles, it becomes easier to find common ground. Promoting integration. Cultural exchange events, language programs, and community-led initiatives can break down barriers. Spaces that bring locals and immigrants together, whether through festivals, sports, or volunteer opportunities, help build trust and shared experiences. Tackling media narratives. Media and political leaders have a responsibility to promote balanced and accurate portrayals of immigration. Shifting the focus from division to collaboration can inspire positive change and challenge harmful stereotypes. Ultimately, these cities, and the UK as a whole, thrive on diversity. By working together to address challenges, they can become models of unity where everyone, regardless of background, has the opportunity to succeed. Let's choose empathy and action over division and fear. The stories of these cities reveal the challenges and opportunities of diversity. Which city's story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't miss our previous video for more insights. And if you appreciate the effort we put into making these videos, support us with just one click. Hit that subscribe button. It means the world to us and helps us bring you more.